Namaste, everyone. Michelle Granberg here. Welcome to another episode of Positive Energy, bringing enlightening television for your evolving soul. Take a look at this beautiful rose quartz crystal. It's astounding that Mother Nature has created these striking crystals from deep inside the earth. Holding crystals or placing them on your body or in your space is thought to promote physical, emotional, and spiritual healing. They are believed to positively affect your body's energy field. On this show, I'm joined by 3 crystal experts. We're going to talk about how and why crystals can work for you. Take a deep breath and stay where you are, because positive energy starts right now. Crystals, crystals, crystals. So we're talking crystals today with Dorothy and Adrienne and Patricia. Welcome to Positive Energy.
Thank you.
So people love crystals. They're crazy about crystals. The crystal craze going on. Very popular, and there's good reason for that, yes? And crystals have really long been used as tools for alternative healing. So Adrienne, what are crystals, and how did they form? Where did they come from?
So,
you're like, how much time do you have?
Yes, how much time do we have? So I call crystals Mother Earth's children. They are born deep within the earth, all over the world, all different continents. There's some in the U.S., there's many in Brazil, South Africa, Madagascar, beautiful crystals, Russia as well. And they form very, very deep in the earth's crust. And takes them millions and millions of years to form.
How many different types of crystals are there? What's the general consensus on that?
Well,
thousands, right?
Right now there's about 5,457 minerals
in
the
more
mineral
specific.
Kingdom. Yes, quite a few.
Okay, thank you. Well, thank you for introducing us to these beautiful beings that are already here, and I know that all of you work with them. So, Patricia, what's the mechanics or the nature of why potentially crystals are healing?
Well, the energy that comes off of them, once you've begun to really work with them and allow your energy to meld with theirs, the power that comes from them is something we now have the ability to use. So between the client's intention and what they want to see happen, and ours as well, as the facilitator to that healing. So the crystals are a wonderful aspect of that, and wonderful tool.
Yeah, I guess they're like partners with the person's intention and your intention. It's a co-creative effort. I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly what I was going to ask. What role, if any, does the person's belief and their openness and receptivity and their free will have? It has a big role.
It has a huge role, and truly, with everything that we bring in, be it crystal energy or any of the other beautiful modalities, without the client's really intention and openness and willingness, the healing can't be long-lasting. It can't really be complete.
Right.
Because that's all up to the client.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yeah, nothing happens without their
intention.
Conscious or subconscious, whether it's conscious or subconscious, alignment with what might happen.
Right.
And being open to that.
Right.
So have you found that also, Dorothy, for yourself when you're working with people? How the crystals work is a little bit of a mystery, certainly, but what's your sort of...
I absolutely agree with Patricia. Intention is 95% of everything. And if you do not withhold the belief that they're going to help, because there are tools. I mean, we're healers, but we're just channeling energy, and that is the same thing that the crystals are doing. So I could be doing Reiki on someone, but if they're not into it, it's really not going to do anything. And if I add crystals, it's the intention and the receptivity of the person that you're working with, because technically they have to heal themselves.
All healing is self-healing.
Yes.
Absolutely. So even though, independent of that, do we say that crystals have some intelligence and aliveness of their own and some purposes? We talk about the properties of crystals. What do you believe about that, Adrienne? What have you found?
So crystals emanate a tremendous amount of light. Yeah. And light is the highest form of energy. So they, make us feel good when we're in their presence. And it's all about vibrational healing. And when we work on our vibrational field, we influence our mental body, our spiritual body, and our physical body. So it's very important to keep our vibration very high, and crystals are one of the main tools to do that with.
Yeah, so we entrain, so crystals are always vibrating, they're always on, they're never off.
Correct.
And so when we access the space where a crystal is, our vibration will possibly match that. Is that sort of what, like entrained to that higher vibration?
Exactly.
Potentially?
Exactly. What happens is we become into resonance with it.
Resonance.
Resonance.
Great.
Right. There's a whole law of resonance because the crystals have a very stable vibration due to their sacred geometry makeup. So it's kind of like when you stand in front of a big old oak tree, you know that there's a very stable feeling you're going to get.
Yeah.
You're going to be feeling rooted and grounded.
Yes.
And that tree is not moving. And that crystal has that same stabilization in it. So we become in resonance with that crystal's frequency.
I love it. I love it. It reminds us of how incredibly supportive nature is of us, right?
Yes.
And how much nature wants us to heal, and it's already providing these very natural energies for us to take advantage of, right? And I know, Patricia, for some energies are more subtle of the crystals, and some are more intense. And does it depend on, some people are more sensitive to crystal energies? Is that part of it, or less sensitive?
Definitely. And, you know, again, it goes back to the person's openness and how distracted are they by what else is going on, and can they really allow their energies to meld with the crystal's energies.
Yeah.
So it's very important that they start to recognize, allow themselves to recognize those very subtle energies. Typically when people walk into my space for the first time, they comment right away, oh, it feels so nice in here, right? It's the first thing they sense. And why is that? You know, there aren't a lot of distractions going on. The energy's flowing freely, and they're picking up on what the crystals are giving to them. So they don't really understand what that is, but they know they feel it.
Not consciously, right?
They know they feel it.
Yeah.
All right.
And they never want to leave.
And they
That's what
They
I
never
find.
wanna leave. They
Yes.
They get that crystal
That's
high.
right.
Yeah.
They don't
feeling.
want to leave.
Kind of looking at your
They
watch
feel so
like,
good,
well,
yeah.
you know, we think we're kind of done.
I've had people say, oh, can I sleep here
Yes.
tonight? You know, it's,
So this is all part of educating people about energy. That's what we're really doing here, to make people aware that, sure, crystals have energy, we have energy, a space holds energy as well. So Dorothy, what is sort of the role of intuition with crystal healing and with working with crystals, have you found? Does it help us develop our intuition? Do we need to use our intuition? Do they go hand in hand? Or how do you use it?
I'm very sensitive to their energy, and finally figured out that they talk to us. And if
So how does that work? Like telepathically, or is it just like a
knowing.
knowing?
For me,
Yeah.
it could be different for someone else, however they perceive their energy. But they will let me know. And just because an amethyst is there does not mean, you know, we think it's going to work in a certain area, but that doesn't mean an amethyst has that little bit of energy that might want to work with that person's solar plexus also. So it's being open and picking up what they're telling us,
Exactly.
and having the faith to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because at first
not
it's
a
a
cookie
little
cutter-
crazy.
Yeah, right. It's being able to interpret correctly. Yeah, and know crystals well enough to be able to tailor it, and trust your intuition enough to be able to tailor it to that person's needs.
Right.
I imagine as well. So Adrian, if the average person asks, how do I choose a crystal for me? You help people choose crystals and help them to choose themselves. So what do you tell people? How to choose a crystal?
Exactly. I really allow the client to choose the crystal themselves, because the crystal really chooses them. And it's really about body wisdom. So when somebody will come up to the crystal table, they'll look around and they'll be attracted to a certain crystal on the table. And then they'll say, okay, well, what crystal is this? And I'll say, well, that's fluorite. And they'll go down a couple of paces and they'll pick up another crystal and say, well, what crystal is that? I said, that's fluorite. Really? I said, yes. So time and time again, the person gets drawn to the exact crystal that they need from Body Wisdom. Yes, it's
And so what might that feel like to the person? Like literally their eyes are drawn, or they feel a pull from their solar plexus, or their hand just gravitates, that type of thing, yeah?
Few different ways. Sometimes the hand will just pick it up, and then they'll walk around the whole table and they won't put it down, and they'll forget they actually have it in their hand.
Absolutely.
You have a crystal there.
Sometimes people will say, I could have sworn that crystal just like blinked at me or just kind of flashed at me, you know. And
waved.
Yes. But basically it's usually the first instinct, and it just grabs their attention right away.
Love it.
So I just kind of allow that process to happen for somebody, and that makes it more fun.
It makes it more fun. You've already chosen. The crystal has already chosen you. They'll probably give you a look like, what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or they may just say, oh, I feel really drawn to this. Or especially if it's jewelry or a bracelet, I'll say, you know what, try it on, see how it feels. And then they might try on one or two, and they go, you know, it's this one that I like. So it's a feeling that they have, a knowing.
Yes. Lovely. Absolutely lovely. I love that. Beyond the five senses, a feeling and a knowing, so crystals are communicating in that way. Patricia, can you talk a little bit when people buy a crystal about clearing and cleansing and charging crystals? What's the difference, and how would someone do that? If they need to, do they need to do that?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. So whenever you're bringing a crystal into your own space, when you're now going to be the guardian, it's very good to cleanse the energies off the crystal because it's been handled by a number of people. It's been through a lot of transport. You want it to be cleansed. So, you know, we recommend different things. You can cleanse with sea salt. You can cleanse with sage. You can use certain crystals you can actually put in water, others you can't, so you have to be mindful of that. And then to charge them, very helpful to do that too regularly, especially if you use it a lot. And you can use that in the sunshine. Some people like moon energies, it's a different feeling. You could put it on a healthy house plant. You know, there's a variety of things you can do to definitely to charge that crystal. And again, frequently if you use it a lot. I have two sets of crystals, the ones I use for clients and the ones I use personally.
Absolutely.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. So Dorothy, if people are wanting to use crystals in their space, what are some recommendations you might have for where they might place it in a space, why they might have a crystal in their space, and how would you guide someone in that regard?
I would first ask them, what is it that you're working with? What is it that you're working on? What is it you're trying to make better? And if they can kind of give me a little general idea, I then set them to go look at the crystals and to see if anybody raises their little crystal hand and says, it's me. And sometimes that happens, but it scares people sometimes when that actually happens with them because they're like, oh, this is awkward. You know, they don't know how to react to it. And that's where we come in as that calming, like, that's awesome. It's like when a puppy makes that contact with you because it's kind of like adoptions. So if someone's looking, if I feel that someone maybe isn't having great conversations with themselves and is being hard on themselves, rose quartz. You know, have some rose quartz. Keep it on your nightstand.
Let's point out the rose quartz since you
They're
mentioned
the beautiful pink
the
ones.
pink one, right there.
And rose quartz helps to soften our heart and soften that conversation that we have with ourselves. Yeah. And when you start to treat yourself better, you stand up a little straighter and you smile. And then you get positive feedback from other people because you're happy. There are some people that feel, you know, that there's family members that or somebody they want to keep their energy away. A nice piece of tourmaline. Black tourmaline is an excellent force field to kind of push things away, to give you your space.
Nice.
Because you don't always want to feel that heaviness of somebody else's energy.
Yeah, those are some beautiful applications. I'm glad you're giving those sort of specific examples of how to connect the dot mind, body, spirit, and crystal, and how to connect all of that together. So Adrienne, say a little bit about chakras. Connect the dots between our energy system, which has these seven main chakras, because I know you teach this, and crystals and where they come together.
So
I know it's a big area. Yeah.
So when we work with crystals in the chakra system, the chakras are our 7 main energy centers of the body. In crystal healing, there's probably at least 12 or 13 that we work with as well, a few below the feet and a few above the feet. So in general terms, when we're working with the crystals, basically we would place the crystals of the same color on those chakras. So if you're trying to work on your root chakra, you would use a red stone. If you're working on your second chakra, you'd use an orange stone. So they correlate to the colors of the chakras. And each of the chakras are connected to specific organs and glands in the body. So if you have an issue with your heart chakra, there's something going on heart-wise for you, whether it's physically or emotionally, you would use pink or green crystals at the heart center to help you with that. If you're trying to open up your throat chakra for speaking and communication and for expressing yourself, you'd use crystals that are in the light blue color. So they correlate that way, and it gives us a guide.
Well, that simplifies it a little bit. I know that
Yes.
it's more complex than that, but that's perfect to simplify for someone who's a beginner in terms of it's okay. We recommend you can do self-healing. You don't necessarily need someone who can tell you all the ins and outs, right?
Definitely.
You can just match color to knowing the color of your chakras, and it goes back to vibration again, right? Color is vibration.
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah, so all of that is helpful, and I know that that's the good standard of practice for how crystal healing is done. Now, of course, how that would look as someone still be laying flat for the most part on the table. So, Patricia,
Yes.
talk about your, how hands-on healing comes together, because I know you're a Reiki master with the use of crystals.
Yes, and generally I do incorporate both things in the same session. I like to engage the client right away by allowing them to look at a random selection of crystals that would resonate with any of the chakras. And I ask them to, again, look at them, let them speak to them, and pick the one or two that are really drawing them in. I said, don't think about it, just go to it. And invariably, they pick one or two crystals. I read the healing properties, and they're amazed.
Yes.
They're amazed that they've really selected something that is going to be so helpful to them. So it engages them.
They're like
And
oracles.
And it also
They can tell you
says-
something. They predict something,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes, it says to them,
Absolutely.
I can tell where I need the healing. So immediately now they're engaged in the session. They're holding them. Sometimes they'll be placed right on the body if they're lying down that way. And then I just continue with the normal part of the, the Reiki session. And sometimes, as I'm sure we've all experienced, you're guided during the session to bring in additional tools, additional crystals.
Absolutely. So Dorothy, would it be enough as well for someone to just hold a crystal in their hand and just hold it to a spot or to meditate with it?
Absolutely.
It must work well with meditation, yes?
Some crystals do, depending on their energy.
Okay.
Some of them are a little too zazzy.
Zazzy?
Energy-wise,
Gotcha.
and you're not going to get into that meditative state because your little hamsters in your head are going to be all jazzed up on crystal energy. But we do use them for just a lot different
So it depends on what your
modalities.
intention is, right? Whether
and
you
it's
want to be
depending if if you're feeling the need, you want to be calm,
right.
you're going to maybe take a smoky quartz. That'll ground you into the earth.
I was just going to ask you what crystal is best for grounding, because that's something that's a very general, universal.
Yes, smoky quartz is,
Right,
is like our
that's smoky quartz
our
right there?
go-to.
Yes.
Hematite
Hematite, always
and black tourmaline's another really good one.
nice.
I like
Red jasper.
Yeah.
I was just going down the list. Like,
Yeah.
okay, who's
There's agreement.
and it depends what mood you're in. Sometimes our energy's low, so we'll pick a crystal that's going to hold, rise us up. And I know, ladies, sometimes if we have leggings and we don't have pockets, there are certain places we kind of,
That's right.
tuck our crystals away. But then we
Is that
have
a
them
tip
with
for the
us.
day?
Yes.
Braziers are also
Yes,
good crystal
they
holders.
are good crystal
A
holders.
ta-ta tip.
There you go. But that way, especially
That's for
if you're
ladies
working,
only.
That's right.
especially if you're working heart chakra, you can put it right there.
Yeah, I love that. So, Adrian, for you, what stands out? What's your favorite crystal? I know you probably love them all. Or
I
what
do.
one for you do you seem to wind up talking about a lot, or what do you use personally? Give us a crystal connection.
Okay, so I did bring my smoky quartz.
Tell us about smoky quartz then. Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty.
As Dorothy had mentioned. Definitely one of my favorites because it's grounding, but it's a soft grounding, so it's connects you both to heaven and earth at the same time. So you really get that alignment. It helps you for you to be in the present moment of time, helps disperse any kind of stress or anxiety, and helps to balance our emotions.
Yes.
So I really like it, and I work with it a lot. Because I work with very high frequency crystals, I really need to stay grounded and calm and focused. So I really try to work with that.
I think everybody needs a little bit of that.
Yes.
Especially since we work on the computer so much and because we overthink.
Exactly. And that crystal especially also helps with the electromagnetic frequency from the cell phones, from the computers. So you could just place that in your living room or your office, and that will help to transmute the electromagnetic frequency that's coming off of the electronics. Yeah.
Love it. So, Patricia, is there a particular crystal that you find yourself recommending a lot to people or for yourself?
Well, in general, I love quartz, and you're seeing a variety of quartz on
These
the,
are
on the
different
table.
shades of quartz. Is that what we call them?
Some of them
Types?
are, yeah.
The selenite are not quartz, but
The one in the
you know
front.
the other pieces are. And in generally, that's just a wonderful. It's just a wonderful stone. If someone is really just starting out in crystals and they want to add them, I generally have 3 basics that I say: get rose quartz, amethyst, and selenite. And then we talk about how to utilize those
Love it.
in the space.
The beginner's package.
It's like the beginner's package, yes.
Getting off the ground with crystals. So I know that each of you do unique work in the world, but all with crystals. So Dorothy, just tell us a little bit about your business, what you do with crystals.
My business is Dorothy Claire Crystals because that's what I'm all about, is the crystals. I'm a recent Reiki master. I'm a certified crystal healer. And on top of all of that, the biggest thing to me is the crystals have basically picked me because I have thumbs and I can make jewelry and I have a driver's license and I can get them to places
to drive them around,
to get them where they
She's
need
a limo
to be.
driver for
I am,
crystals.
absolutely. But my jewelry is a way for people to wear their crystals and have that energy with them all day and still maybe not have the flag flying too high. Because there's a stigma, so there are some people that don't understand it.
Yes.
So
it's
that's
very new agey, very woo-woo for some
but
people.
the wire wrap pieces that I do, I'm instructed by the crystal to follow the energy of that particular piece. So they're all different. And I never know what's going to happen till it's done.
Well, it's very powerful to be able to wear the crystals. That's another wonderful tip.
Yes.
If people are wondering how to bring crystals into their life.
See,
They're
we
so
all
pretty
we all have
anyway
our bracelets
to wear
and our
bracelets.
necklaces and earrings
Yes.
and rings. But it's a it's a fashion statement.
Sure.
Say that hesitantly, but
it's so much more.
But if something's pretty, you're more apt to
drawn
wear
to
it and to actually utilize it. And maybe you don't even know why. You just know that it's pretty and it makes you feel good when you wear it. So, hey.
That could be
That's a good
intuition as
thing.
well, and how it speaks is
And
through
if
aesthetics.
somebody comes around and decides, oh, that's great. And if it doesn't, you know what? The crystal's there to do its job. It's happy. The person's in a better place. So at the end of the day, it's all good.
Yeah.
Okay, Dorothy Claire, crystals. Adrian, tell us about what you do, your business.
So my company is Wonderful World of Crystals, and like Dorothy, we were just chosen to represent the Crystal Kingdom, and I teach classes all over New Jersey in the different communities. I educate and I activate people into the Crystal Kingdom, and I also offer them in all different shapes and sizes, in jewelry as well. And I like to help to design different crystal combinations for people's specific purposes. Recipes, exactly. So, sometimes it will be for fertility. Sometimes it will be for opening up a new business. Sometimes it will be as specific as, children having, maybe some trouble sleeping, things like that, relationships. So learning to make the combination of crystals is very, very powerful.
Yeah, not just selling them, but educating.
Definitely
and
educating.
guiding. You play the role of a little bit of a counselor, kind of, coach, kind of.
We do. We do.
And we've known each other a long time, and we
Yes.
did workshops at my center when I had it as well. And Adrian's definitely the traveling crystal lady, and she's somewhere every weekend. But you can find all of us at some holistic fairs and healing fairs and yoga centers throughout New Jersey. So thank you, Adrian. How about you, Patricia? Say a little bit about your business.
Sure. It's Patricia Parenti Reiki. That was the basis of where I started in the Reiki practice. But I've added other modalities since then: magnified healing, of course the crystal healing, violet flame work, ancestral healing. I teach classes and offer workshops, and in whatever I'm doing, from a healing session to a class to a workshop, there's always crystals involved, whatever is going to support the client or the student, or just what we're doing in that workshop that day. So you'll always see crystals incorporated into the practice.
Crystals are the hub of the foundation of all of it. They're so diverse. They're so multidimensional. There's unlimited amount of uses for crystals, really, and there are so many. So I think that's our main message today. If crystals are something that speaks to our audience, seek them out. Don't deny it, don't negate it, don't worry about the science part of it. Trust your gut, trust your feelings. I have 3 beautiful experts sitting here amongst these beautiful crystals. They can answer your questions. If you want to reach out to me, I can put them in contact with you. But I just want to, thank all of you for all the expertise you brought today and for all the work you're doing in the world, because what you're doing in the world is helping the world heal in your own way. One person at a time, 2 people at a time. The crystals are helping. Thank you, crystals.
Yes,
Thank you for helping. And thank you all for being on Positive Energy today. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're wrapping up another enlightening show. Remember, healing is a lifelong process that is internally driven, motivated, and directed by you. Reclaiming your potential takes time, but you're always worth the effort. Thank you, Monday Morning Flowers, for the beautiful floral arrangement. Thank you for watching. Check out michellegranberg.com, go vegan, and join me next time on Positive Energy.